The human freighter Dauntless floated through a glowing nebula in the 27th century. Stars sparkled faintly through the colorful clouds of gas and dust. The ship, patched and sturdy, carried cargo across the galaxy. Its small crew worked smoothly, like a family. Captain Jiho stood on the bridge, his sharp eyes scanning the screens. He was a tall man with gray streaks in his hair, a former soldier who had seen battles and survived. His calm voice carried weight, and his crew trusted him completely. Jiho sipped coffee from a chipped mug, watching the nebula's swirls on the main screen. The bridge was small, filled with blinking lights and humming machines. Engineer Sujin sat at a console, her fingers dancing over buttons. She was young, with quick hands and a sharp mind, always fixing things before they broke. Navigator Taemin leaned back in his chair, plotting their course. He was thin, with a quick smile, and he loved joking to keep the mood light. The three of them had flown together for years, and their bond was strong. "Pretty out there, huh?" Taemin said, nodding at the nebula. His screen showed their path through the clouds. "Like flying through a painting." Sujin rolled her eyes but smiled. "Focus, Taemin. You'll get us lost in this soup." Jiho chuckled. "Keep us steady, both of you. This nebula's hiding more than colors." He wasn't wrong. Unknown to them, danger waited. A sleek, dark shape moved silently through the nebula. A Clythar Dominion warship, its hull sharp and menacing, glided closer. The Clythar were feared across the galaxy. They were tall, with bony faces and cold, yellow eyes. Their ships raided weak vessels, stealing cargo and leaving wreckage. To them, a lone human freighter was easy prey. On the Dauntless, a warning light flashed. Sujin sat up straight. "Captain, I'm picking up something." Energy spike, close by. Jiho's face hardened. He set his mug down. "Taemin, scan the area." "Sujin, get me details." Taemin's fingers flew over his controls. "Nothing on visual, but, wait. There's a shadow moving. It's big." Before they could react, the nebula lit up. A massive warship uncloaked right in front of them. Its sharp edges gleamed under the nebula's glow. Red lights pulsed along its side, like a predator's eyes. The Clythar ship dwarfed the Dauntless, its weapons already locked on. Sujin gasped. "That's a Clythar warship. Military grade." Taemin's smile vanished. "They're targeting us. Shields up, but..." "Captain, we're outgunned." Jiho stayed calm, his mind racing. He had faced worse odds in his soldier days. "Hold steady. Let's see what they want." A harsh voice crackled through the comms. The Clythar commander's face appeared on the screen. His yellow eyes glared, and his bony jaw clicked as he spoke. "Human vessel, this is the Clythar Dominion. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and we destroy you." Taemin muttered, "Friendly bunch." Sujin whispered, "Captain, their weapons are hot. One shot could rip us apart." Jiho stared at the alien's face. His crew looked to him, waiting. He leaned back in his chair, a small smirk on his face. "Wrong move," he said softly, just loud enough for Sujin and Taemin to hear. The Clythar commander tilted his head, confused by the lack of fear. "You have 10 seconds to comply, human." Jiho pressed a button, muting the comms. "Sujin, that special project in the cargo bay. How fast can you get it ready?" Sujin's eyes widened. "The prototype? It's untested, but give me 5 minutes." "Make it 3, Jiho said. Taemin, plot an evasive course. Use the nebula to hide us if they fire." Taemin nodded, already working. "Got it. I'll dance us through this cloud." Sujin jumped from her seat and ran to the cargo bay. Her boots echoed in the narrow halls. The special project was a secret weapon, a plasma cannon built by human scientists. It was hidden among the cargo crates, disguised as spare parts. Sujin had helped install it, but it was experimental. One wrong move, and it could overload the ship's power. Back on the bridge, Jiho unmuted the comms. "Clythar vessel," he said, his voice steady. "We're just a freighter. No need for trouble. Let's talk this out." The Clythar commander hissed. "Talk? You are weak. Surrender now, or we take what we want." Gee. The Dauntless hung in the nebula's glow, facing the massive Clythar warship. Its red lights pulsed, weapons ready to fire. On the bridge, Captain Jiho kept his cool, his voice steady as he spoke to the alien commander through the comms. "We're just a freighter," he said, leaning back in his chair. "No weapons, no threat. Let's keep this peaceful." His words were calm, but his eyes flicked to the timer on his console. He was buying time. The Clythar commander's yellow eyes narrowed on the screen. His bony face twitched with impatience. "Your lies bore me, human. Power down now, or we destroy you." His voice was sharp, like a blade. Jiho smirked, keeping the comms open. "Destroy us? That's a big ship you've got. Must cost a lot to maintain. Sure you want to waste energy on a rusty freighter?" He was stalling, and the Clythar didn't know why. In the cargo bay, Sujin worked fast. The air was hot, filled with the hum of machines. She knelt by a hidden panel, her tools scattered on the floor. The prototype plasma cannon was a beast, a tangle of wires and glowing coils. It was human-made, experimental, and dangerous. Sujin's hands moved like lightning, connecting circuits and checking power levels. Sweat dripped from her forehead, but she didn't stop. "Come on," she muttered. "Work for me." Back on the bridge, Taemin's fingers danced over his controls. His screen showed the nebula's clouds and the Clythar ship's position. "Captain, their weapons are charging," he said, his voice tight. "They're not bluffing." Jiho nodded. "Keep us ready, Taemin. When I say move, you move." The Clythar commander lost patience. "Enough," he barked. "This is your last warning." A moment later, a bright beam shot from the warship. It was a warning shot, meant to scare. The energy grazed the Dauntless' hull, shaking the ship. Taemin cursed and gripped his controls. "Hold on," he shouted. He yanked the ship into a sharp turn, diving into the nebula's thick clouds. The Dauntless groaned, its frame creaking as it twisted through the gas and dust. The nebula's interference scrambled the Clythar's sensors, giving them a moment to breathe. Jiho gripped his chair but stayed calm. "Nice flying, Taemin, keep us in the clouds." Taemin grinned, despite the danger. "Like dancing through a storm." In the cargo bay, Sujin felt the ship lurch. She braced herself against a crate, her tools sliding across the floor. "Taemin, you maniac," she muttered. Her comms crackled with Jiho's voice. "Sujin, status?" "Almost there," she said, tightening a final wire. The cannon's core hummed, glowing bright blue. "1 minute, Captain." "Make it fast," Jiho replied. "They're not waiting." On the bridge, Jiho kept talking to the Clythar. "That was a close one," he said, his tone light. "Missed us by a hair. Your aim's a bit off, isn't it?" He was pushing their buttons, keeping them focused on him. The Clythar commander snarled, his claws tapping the arm of his chair. "You mock us? You will beg for mercy soon." He signaled his crew, and the warship's weapons powered up again, this time for a killing shot. Taemin saw the energy spike. "Captain, they're locking on. We can't dodge another one in this soup." Jiho's eyes flicked to the timer. "Sujin, now or never." In the cargo bay, Sujin slammed the panel shut. The cannon's controls lit up, ready. She punched a button, and the ship's power flickered as energy surged to the weapon. "It's online," she shouted into her comms. "Firing in 10 seconds. Jiho unmuted the comms. "Last chance," he told the Clythar. "Back off, or we fight back." The commander laughed, a harsh, clicking sound. "Fight? With what?" You are nothing. Jiho's smirk grew. You'll see. Sujin counted down. 3, 2, 1, she hit the fire button. The Dauntless shuddered as the plasma cannon roared. A blinding blue beam shot from the cargo bay, cutting through the nebula like a knife. It slammed into the Clythar warship, tearing through its shields in a shower of sparks. The alien ship rocked, its red lights flickering. On the Clythar bridge, alarms screamed. The commander stumbled, grabbing his console. His crew shouted in panic as systems failed. The shields were gone, leaving their ship exposed. The commander stared at the Dauntless on his screen, his yellow eyes wide. What are these humans?" he snarled. On the Dauntless, the crew cheered. Taemin punched the air. Got M. Sujin's voice came through the comms, tired but triumphant. Cannons still in one piece. Barely. Jiho leaned forward, his eyes locked on the Clythar ship. Good work, both of you. Taemin, keep us moving. They're not done yet. The Clythar warship stabilized, but it was hurt. Its sleek hull was scorched, and its weapons powered down to reroute energy. The commander glared at his crew. Return fire, he ordered. Crush them. Taemin saw the warship's guns move. They're still coming, Captain. Jiho nodded. Then we keep fighting. Sujin, how's the cannon? Needs a minute to recharge, she said. It's overheating. Hold it together, Jiho said. Taemin, get us deeper into the nebula. We'll make them chase us. Taemin pushed the Dauntless forward, weaving through the clouds. The Clythar ship followed, its size making it slower in the tight spaces. The aliens were angry, confused. They had expected an easy win, but the humans were different. Their small ship, their quick thinking, their hidden weapon, it was all wrong. On the bridge, Jiho watched the enemy ship. He knew the Clythar wouldn't give up. They were predators, used to winning. But humans were stubborn. Jiho had fought in wars, outsmarted enemies, and survived. His crew was the same. Sujin's brain and Taemin's skill were more dangerous than any weapon. Sujin, Jiho said into the comms, get that cannon ready again. We're not done. Working on it, she replied, her voice steady despite the heat in the cargo bay. Taemin glanced at Jiho. What's the plan, Captain? Jiho's eyes gleamed. We hit them again. Harder. The Dauntless sped through the nebula, the Clythar warship close behind. The humans were outgunned, outnumbered, but not outsmarted. The Clythar had picked the wrong ship, and they were starting to realize it. The crew's ingenuity had caught them off guard, and the fight was far from over. The Dauntless darted through the nebula's glowing clouds, its engines humming as it fled the wounded Clythar warship. The alien ship, scarred from the plasma cannon's hit, loomed behind, its red lights cutting through the mist. On the bridge, Captain Jiho watched the enemy on his screen, his face calm but focused. The Clythar were angry, and angry enemies made mistakes. He knew this from his days as a soldier, outsmarting foes in battles long past. They're coming fast, Taemin said, his hands tight on the controls. The navigator's screen showed the warship closing in, its sensors struggling in the nebula's interference. They're not giving up, Captain. They won't, Jiho replied. But we're not done either. Keep us in the clouds, Taemin, make it hard for them. Taemin nodded, steering the Dauntless deeper into the nebula. The ship weaved between thick gas clouds, its hull brushing against glowing dust. The nebula was like a maze, perfect for hiding. Taemin's skill kept them out of sight, but the Clythar were relentless. In the cargo bay, Sujin wiped sweat from her face. The plasma cannon was cooling, its coil still hot from the last shot. She worked at a console, her tools spread out. Captain, she said into her comms, cannon's not ready yet. Needs another few minutes. Then we buy time, Jiho's voice crackled back. Can you rig something else? Anything to slow them down? Sujin grinned. Give me 2 minutes. I've got an idea. She turned to a pile of small drones, used for cargo checks. They were basic, but she could make them useful. Her hands moved fast, reprogramming their signals to mimic the Dauntless's energy signature. If the Clythar chased the drones, it would give the ship a chance to slip away. On the Clythar warship, the commander's yellow eyes burned with rage. His crew scrambled to fix the damaged shields, but he didn't care. "Find them," he snarled. "No human tricks will save them." He slammed a claw on his console, and a hatch opened on the warship's side. 6 small fighters shot out, their sleek forms slicing through the nebula. The fighters were fast, built to hunt down fleeing ships. Taemin saw them on his screen. "Captain, they're launching fighters. 6 of them, spreading out." Jiho's mind raced. He remembered a battle years ago, when he was a young soldier. He had lured an enemy into a trap, using their eagerness against them. The Clythar were the same, too confident, too aggressive. "Taemin, find a tight spot in the nebula. Somewhere we can control." Taemin scanned his map. "There's a dense cloud ahead, narrow paths. It's risky, but they'll struggle to follow." "Do it," Jiho said. "Sujin, how's your idea?" "Ready," she replied. "Drones are set. I can launch them when you say." The Dauntless dove into the dense cloud, its lights dimmed to avoid detection. The nebula here was thick, like flying through fog. Taemin's hands were steady, guiding the ship through narrow gaps. The Clythar fighters followed, their sensors pinging wildly. The warship lagged behind, too big to navigate the tight paths. On the warship, the commander watched his fighters' signals. "Close in," he ordered. "Destroy that ship." But the Dauntless wasn't alone. Sujin launched her drones, sending them scattering in different directions. Each drone broadcasted a fake signal, making it look like the Dauntless. The Clythar fighters split up, chasing the ghosts. Their pilots growled in frustration as they flew in circles, unable to find the real ship. Jiho saw the fighters' confusion on his screen. "Good work, Sujin. Now let's hit them harder. Any cargo pods we can use?" Sujin paused, then smiled. "There's one pod, filled with scrap. If I rig it with a power cell, it'll explode like a bomb." "Do it," Jiho said. Taemin, lead the fighters to a choke point. Taemin pushed the Dauntless through a narrow tunnel of gas, the fighters close behind. He found a spot where the nebula's clouds formed a tight ring, like a trap. "Here," he said. "They'll pile in." Sujin worked fast, rigging the cargo pod. She attached a small power cell, setting it to overload on impact. "Pod's ready," she said. "Launching now." The pod shot out from the Dauntless, floating into the choke point. Sujin's drones circled it, their signals drawing the fighters in. The Clythar pilots, eager for a kill, didn't notice the trap. They swarmed the pod, their weapons charging. "Now," Jiho said. Sujin pressed a button. The pod's power cell exploded, a bright flash lighting up the nebula. The blast tore through the fighters, shredding their sleek hulls. 4 of the 6 were destroyed instantly, their wreckage spinning into the clouds. The other 2 veered off, damaged and confused. Taemin cheered. "Got them." Sujin leaned against a crate, catching her breath. "That's for shooting at us." Jiho stayed focused. "Nice work, but the warship's still out there." "Taemin, get us out of this cloud." "Sujin, how's the cannon?" "Almost ready," she said. "Give me a minute." On the Clythar warship, the commander roared in fury. His fighters were gone, his prey still alive. "Find them," he shouted. "They cannot escape." But the Dauntless was already moving, slipping through the nebula's maze. Jiho's passed as a tactician guided every step. He knew how to turn chaos into an advantage. His crew trusted him, and their quick thinking, Sujin's drones, Taemin's flying, had outmaneuvered the Clythar again. "Taemin," Jiho said, "find us a spot to hide. We need to recharge and hit them again." Taemin nodded, steering toward a darker part of the nebula. The warship's sensors struggled to track them, its crew frustrated. The Clythar were predators, used to easy kills. But the Dauntless was no ordinary prey. Its crew was small, but their minds were sharp, their bond unbreakable. As the ship vanished into the clouds, Jiho leaned back, his eyes on the screen. The Clythar were still coming, but they were rattled. He remembered another battle, another trap he had set. The enemy had underestimated him then, just like now. "Keep it together," he said to his crew. "We're not done yet." The chase wasn't over, but the humans had struck back. The Clythar, for the first time, felt something new: doubt. The Dauntless emerged from the nebula's thick clouds, its scarred hull glinting under distant starlight. The Clythar warship waited ahead, its massive form looming like a predator ready to strike. The alien ship was damaged, its shields weak from the plasma cannon's earlier hit, but its weapons still glowed, locked on the human freighter. On the bridge, Captain Jiho stood tall, his gray eyes fixed on the enemy. His crew, Sujin and Taemin, worked fast, their faces tense but focused. This was the final clash, and they all knew it. "Captain, they're charging weapons," Taemin said, his hands steady on the controls. His screen showed the warship's energy spikes, a sign of an imminent attack. "We've got maybe a minute." Sujin, at her console, typed furiously. "Cannons recharging, but it's slow. We can't fire yet." Her voice was tight, her mind racing for another way to fight. Jiho nodded, his calm hiding the storm in his head. He had faced standoffs before, in his soldier days, staring down enemies who thought they had won. The Clythar were no different, arrogant, sure of their power. But humans were stubborn, and Jiho's crew was smarter than the aliens expected. "Sujin," he said, "can you get into their systems? Anything to mess them up?" Sujin's eyes lit up. "Maybe. Their shields are down, so their network's exposed. I can try hacking." She pulled up a new screen, her fingers flying over the keys. The Dauntless had a basic hacking suite, meant for bypassing cargo locks, but Sujin was a genius. She could turn it into a weapon. The Clythar commander's face appeared on the comms screen, his yellow eyes glowing with rage. His bony jaw clicked as he spoke. "Humans, you cannot win. Surrender, or we erase you." His voice was cold, but there was a crack in his confidence. The Dauntless had hurt him, and he didn't understand how. Jiho leaned forward, his voice steady. "You've got a big ship, but we've got tricks you haven't seen. Back off, and we all walk away." The commander laughed, a harsh, scraping sound. "Walk away? You are prey. We take what we want." He raised a claw, signaling his crew to prepare the final shot. Taemin whispered, "Captain, they're about to fire." "Hold steady," Jiho said. "Sujin, how's the hack?" "Almost there," she muttered, sweat on her brow. Her screen showed lines of code, a digital bridge into the Clythar's systems. She found a weak point and open comms channel. "Got it. I'm in their network." Jiho's eyes flicked to the timer. "Do something fast." Sujin's fingers moved like lightning. She slipped through the Clythar's defenses, accessing their comms and data logs. Her heart raced as she found something big, a file of attack plans, listing human trade routes the Clythar planned to raid. "Captain, they've got a whole strategy against human ships," she said. "If I broadcast this, every human fleet nearby will see it." "Do it," Jiho said. "Send it now." Sujin hit a key, and the Clythar's plan shot out across open channels. Within seconds, a human fleet, stationed light years away, picked up the signal. Their ships, armed and ready, began plotting a course to intercept. The Clythar didn't know it yet, but they were no longer the hunters. On the warship, alarms blared. The commander's crew shouted, confused, as their screens showed the breach. "What is this?" the commander snarled. "Our plans exposed." He turned to his comms officer, claws raised. "How did they do this?" Sujin grinned, watching her screen. "They're panicking. I've locked their targeting system, too. They can't fire for a minute." Taemin let out a whoop. You're a wizard, Sujin. Jiho seized the moment. He opened the comms, his voice firm but calm. Clythar Commander, your plans are out. Human ships are coming. You've got one chance to leave. Take it, or we finish this. The commander stared, his yellow eyes wide. He saw the Dauntless on his screen, small but defiant. He saw his own crew, scrambling to fix their systems. And he felt something new: doubt. The humans were weak, weren't they? Yet they had crippled his shields, destroyed his fighters, and now stolen his secrets. His claws twitched, but he didn't speak. Jiho leaned closer to the screen. We don't want more blood. Go home. Tell your people what happened here. The bridge was silent, the air heavy. Taemin held his breath, his hands ready to dodge if the Clythar fired. Sujin watched her screen, her hack still holding. The Clythar commander's face twisted, torn between pride and survival. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. We were fools, he muttered. You humans, you are not what we thought. He turned to his crew, barking in order. The warship's weapons powered down, its red lights dimming. Slowly, it turned, engines flaring as it moved away. The Clythar were retreating, their pride shattered. Taemin exhaled. They're leaving. We did it. Sujin slumped in her chair, a tired smile on her face. That was too close. Jiho stayed quiet, watching the warship vanish into the nebula. He had seen enemies run before, but this felt different. The Clythar weren't just beaten, they were shaken. He thought of his crew, their quick minds and steady hearts. Sujin's hack, Taemin's flying, his own tactics, they had turned a freighter into a legend. Captain, Taemin said, human fleets responding. They're on their way, thanks to Sujin's broadcast. Good, Jiho said. Let's get to the outpost before they arrive. We need repairs. Sujin checked the cannon. It's ready now, but I guess we don't need it. Jiho chuckled. Save it for next time. The Dauntless turned, its engines humming as it headed for the human outpost. The crew was tired but alive, their bond stronger than ever. Jiho thought of his past, the wars he fought, the lives he lost. He had always been a fighter, but today, he chose mercy. The Clythar would remember that, too. As the ship sailed through the stars, Sujin and Taemin joked, their voices light. Jiho listened, a small smile on his face. The Clythar had come for an easy win, but they got a lesson in human strength and human heart. The Dauntless was small, but it was mighty. And its crew was ready for whatever came next. The Dauntless limped through space, its hull scarred but unbroken. The nebula's glow faded behind it, replaced by the soft light of distant stars. The Clythar warship was gone, retreating after the humans' fierce fight. Captain Jiho stood on the bridge, his hands steady on the controls. His gray-streaked hair was messy, but his eyes were sharp. The crew had won, but the cost was clear: dents in the ship, flickering lights, and a tired team. Taemin, the navigator, slouched in his chair, a tired grin on his face. We made it, Captain. Told you I'd get us out of that mess. His screen showed their path to a nearby human outpost, a safe haven after the battle. Sujin, the engineer, climbed back to the bridge, her tools clinking in her belt. Her face was smudged with grease, but she looked proud. Engines are holding, she said. Barely. That plasma cannon took a lot out of us. Jiho nodded. You both did good. Better than good. His voice was quiet, but it carried weight. He thought of his old soldier days, leading teams through impossible fights. This crew, small as it was, felt like his best. The Dauntless approached the outpost, a gleaming station orbiting a quiet planet. Its lights blinked in welcome, guiding the ship to a docking bay. As the freighter settled, a crowd gathered: mechanics, pilots, and officers, all staring at the battered ship. Word had spread fast. A lone freighter had fought off a Clythar warship. Whispers turned to cheers as Jiho, Sujin, and Taemin stepped onto the platform. A station officer, a woman with a crisp uniform, shook Jiho's hand. Captain, you're heroes, she said. The Clythar don't retreat. What did you do? Jiho shrugged, a small smile on his face. We showed them humans don't give up. Sujin and Taemin stood beside him, soaking in the praise. The crowd clapped, some calling out their names. Taemin waved, his grin wide. Sujin blushed but stood tall. The story of the Dauntless was already spreading, a tale of a tiny ship that broke a predator's pride. Far away, on a Clythar outpost, the alien commander faced his superiors. His bony face was tight, his yellow eyes downcast. The humans were unexpected, he said. Their ship, small but fierce. Their minds, sharp like blades. The other Clythar listened, their claws clicking nervously. The commander's words carried a warning: avoid the Dauntless. The tale spread among their ships, a legend of the unbreakable human vessel. Raiders thought twice before targeting human freighters, wary of another trap. Back at the outpost, the crew rested. The Dauntless sat in a repair bay, its hull patched by busy mechanics. Jiho walked through the ship, his boots echoing in the quiet halls. He remembered every fight, every close call. The Clythar had come for an easy win, but they got a lesson instead. He stopped at the cargo bay, where the plasma cannon sat, now cool and silent. Sujin was there, sketching upgrade plans on a tablet. Thinking of making it better? Jiho asked. Sujin looked up, her eyes bright. Faster recharge, stronger output. Maybe add a second one. She tapped her sketch. We'll be ready for anything. Jiho chuckled. Good. We're not retiring yet. Taemin joined them, carrying a tray of food from the station's mess hall. They're calling us legends out there, he said, handing out sandwiches. Some kid asked if I could teach him to fly like that. What did you say? Sujin asked, taking a bite. Told him to practice and pray, Taemin said, laughing. But seriously, Captain, what's next? Jiho looked at his crew, their faces lit by the bay's soft lights. They were young, brave, and clever. He thought of the stars waiting, the risks and rewards. We fix the ship, he said. We upgrade. Then we fly again. There's cargo to haul, and maybe a few more fights to win. Sujin nodded. I'm in. Let's make this ship a beast. Taemin raised his sandwich like a toast. To the Dauntless. And to us. They ate together, planning and joking. The outpost buzzed around them, but the crew felt at home on their ship. The Dauntless was more than metal, it was their strength, their story. Mechanics finished the repairs, adding new armor and better systems. Sujin's upgrades were installed, the cannon now stronger. Taemin mapped new routes, eager to test the ship's speed. Days later, the Dauntless left the outpost. Its hull gleamed, patched but proud. The crew stood on the bridge, ready for the stars. Jiho took the controls, his hands steady. Sujin checked the systems, her screens green. Taemin plotted their course, his smile back. As the ship sailed into the dark, a Clythar scout watched from afar. Its pilot, hidden in a small craft, recorded the Dauntless's departure. The unbreakable ship, the pilot whispered, its voice low. Never again. The scout turned away, leaving the humans alone. On the bridge, Jiho glanced at the nebula fading behind them. He thought of the Clythar, their shock, their retreat. Humans were small in the galaxy, but they were stubborn. His crew proved that. He leaned back, a grin spreading across his face. Who's next? He said, his voice light but firm. Sujin laughed. Whoever it is, they'll regret it. Taemin nodded. Let's find out. The Dauntless soared forward, its engines roaring. The stars stretched out, endless and bright. The crew was ready, their bond tight, their ship strong. The galaxy would hear their name again. The end.